Some marriages don't end with screaming fights. They end with a quiet truth dropped like a bomb, leaving one partner shattered and the other realizing the silence they thought safe was the deadliest lie. Hey, this is Ryan. It all started in this crappy little bar, the kind with sticky floors and neon lights that flickered like they were dying. I was up there with my guitar, trying to drown out the hum of old speakers when I saw Olivia. She wasn't just drinking or chatting like everyone else. She had her laptop open, typing between sips, eyes darting from the screen to me like she was multitasking the night. After the set, she came straight up, didn't waste time on flattery. Told me which songs worked, which ones dragged. No fluff. That honesty hooked me fast. We slid into each other's lives quick. She'd show up with takeout when I was practicing late, sitting on the floor while I ran chords, grinning at my screw-ups. We had this thing with a Thai place nearby, ordering food, so hot it made us sweat, laughing through every bite like maniacs. That was us, simple, raw, no pretense. We started tackling the heavy stuff early. Over coffee one morning, I told her flat out, I want a kid someday, but not yet. Music was finally picking up, a few gigs, a few bucks, and I needed to push hard. She didn't blink. Said she felt the same, too busy coding apps and fixing bugs that pissed off users to think about kids now. Wait a few years, she said, and I believed her. Why wouldn't I? Everything between us was up front. Marriage came naturally. I proposed on a drive to the beach, pulled over where the waves pounded the rocks, nerve jangling, but she said yes with tears in her eyes. That moment felt like forever. We started our married life in some dumpy apartment with rattling pipes and a balcony barely wide enough for 2 chairs. She set up her desk, I plugged in my amp, and it felt like partnership. Me chasing gigs, her hammering out code, both hustling. She ran the wedding details like a project manager. Every list checked twice, every bill handled. I respected that. She respected my chaos. I figured we had balance, a real team. Sure, there were quirks. After we got engaged, I noticed her twisting her ring whenever family brought up kids, or going quiet when health came up. She bailed on a doctor appointment once, brushed it off like it was nothing. I chalked it up to stress. Everyone gets jittery about the future, right? And she was there at my shows, even when dead tired, cheering like I was playing Madison Square Garden. I bombed a gig once, tiny crowd, dead energy, and she told me to shake it off, that the next one would be better. That's the kind of woman I thought I'd married. I trusted her completely. We talked money, bills, schedules, even the stupid little things couples fight over. Nothing hidden. At least that's what I thought. Looking back now, those little moments stand out like flashing red lights. Family talking babies at dinner and her eyes going blank. Her fiddling with her phone when I brought up someday. The way she steered conversations away from health like she was dodging bullets. All signals I waved off because I trusted her word. Because when she said, not now, later, I believed it. I remember moving day, carrying boxes up narrow stairs, both of us sweating, cursing, but laughing too. She organized shelves, I set up my gear, and I thought, this is it, this is partnership. Optimism everywhere. I booked gigs, she planned trips. Every time we circled back to kids, she said the same thing, not yet. That was fine. I wanted time too. But then came the weird moments I shoved aside. At her aunt's dinner, people joked about nurseries, and Olivia suddenly needed to check her phone. During a call with her mom, when age came up, she bit her lip so hard it left a mark. At engagement parties, she hesitated when we talked about forever, like engraving always on the rings was too heavy. I told myself it was nerves. She was detail-driven, always overthinking. It made sense at the time. I wrote songs about us. Lyrics about lasting forever, about honesty and grit. I believed every word. I thought we were partners against the world. No lies, no masks. That was my gospel. Now, it's obvious. Those quirks weren't nerves. They were tells. Signs she was running a secret script I never saw. She kept her cards tucked away while I laid mine on the table, grinning like a fool. But back then, I was just a guy in love, lugging gear across town, chasing dreams, and trusting the woman who cheered for me in the crowd. I didn't see the cracks forming under the surface. Didn't see that her silences were loaded. Didn't know that one day, all of it, The laughs, the promises, the optimism would crash under the weight of a truth she never trusted me with. Hindsight's brutal, but that's where it all began.
Hey there, this is Olivia. Where do I even begin? Maybe with the doctor's office, fluorescent lights buzzing overhead, pamphlets on the wall showing smiling families, and me sitting there twisting the strap of my purse until the leather dug into my fingers. That's when the specialist told me the truth. My egg reserve was low. Not impossible, she said, but my window wasn't wide open like I'd assumed. My body was basically on fast forward. I nodded, pretended to absorb it like I was taking notes, but inside I felt like the ground gave way. Driving home, I pulled through a drive-thru, ordered a vanilla milkshake, something sweet to keep me from crying until I got back to my apartment. But when I sat on the couch later, laptop open, cursor blinking on unfinished code, all I could think was, what if I never have a baby? The thought looped over and over until it was a low hum in my head. I didn't tell Ryan. Couldn't. We were serious by then. He had his gigs, his guitar, his optimism, and I love that about him. But in my mind, I saw the moment I told him, his smile fading, his hands falling from the strings, the silence stretching before he said he needed time to think. Which, I knew, meant goodbye. Guys run when things get complicated. My cousin's husband had bolted after years of failed IVF. I wasn't going to risk that. So I made my choice. Keep it to myself. Once we were married, once I was his wife, it would be different. Marriage is supposed to mean unshakable, right? Love conquers all. Vows bind tighter than fear. That's what I told myself, over and over. It felt logical, like code. Input secrecy, output security. A clean solution to a messy problem. Except it wasn't clean. It weighed on me every day. I buried myself in work. Long hours at the startup, debugging lines of code until my eyes blurred, shipping updates, collecting high fives from the team. Outwardly, I looked successful, focused. Inside, I was unraveling. Every late cycle, every cramp that left me curled up on the couch, every notification on my fertility app that I deleted before Ryan could see, it all reminded me of what I was hiding. After the wedding, the pressure doubled. Friends started announcing pregnancies, posting ultrasound pictures with captions about morning sickness or gender reveals. I'd hit like, type congrats, but each one was a twist in my chest. At family dinners, my aunt would drop comments about my age, how her friends all had grandchildren by now. My mom was subtler, calling me weakly, weaving in mentions of babysitting, hinting like a knife slipped under the skin. And Ryan, God, he was so trusting. When relatives asked about kids, he'd smile, crack a joke about waiting until our bank account looked less like a bad joke. He believed in our plan. I'd sit there, smile pasted on, fingers digging into my leg under the table, knowing I wasn't telling him everything. There were moments I almost came clean. Nights when he strummed on the couch, humming while I coded, our feet tangled under the blanket. Or walking through the park, leaves crunching underfoot, the air calm enough that truth felt possible. I'd open my mouth, then close it again. Wrong moment, I told myself. He was tired. I was stressed. It had to be perfect timing, because once it was out, I couldn't take it back. So I swallowed it down. But secrets grow teeth. Each dodge, each lie of omission, shredded a little more of the trust one craved. And still, I convinced myself it was for us, for the marriage, for love. I was protecting him from disappointment, protecting me from abandonment. I thought I was buying time. The guilt seeped everywhere. At a friend's baby shower, holding up tiny onesies and smiling for pictures, I calculated odds in my head, wondering if I'd ever shop for those. At family brunch, when my dad joked about needing grandkids to spoil, I laughed along, then excused myself to the bathroom and stared at my reflection, lips pressed thin. I started biting my nails again, down to the quick. Ryan noticed once, asked if I was stressed, and I brushed it off as work deadlines. Another dodge. That was the cycle. Anxiety, silence, rationalization. Rinse and repeat. I told myself once we got through the wedding, once we were settled, I'd tell him. Then after his big show. Then after my project launch. Always after. Perfect timing never arrived, because perfect doesn't exist. So the secret stayed locked, rotting in the dark, while I smiled and said someday, whenever he talked about kids. Looking back, I see how stupid it was. Fear doesn't protect you. It eats you alive. But at the time, it felt like armor. Thin, rusting armor that I clung to because the alternative, telling him, watching him walk away, felt unbearable. And that's how I justified it. Not with malice, not with calculation, but with desperation. I loved him, and I wanted him to love me enough to stay, no matter what. But by hiding it, I set the whole thing on fire before it even had a chance.
We're at Olivia's parents' place, table loaded like it's Thanksgiving. Roast chicken, mashed potatoes, those green beans with the crunchy bits she swears by. Everyone's talking over each other, laughter bouncing off the walls. Her dad's making cracks about my calloused fingers, her sister teasing about Olivia hogging the bathroom, her mom fussing over serving sizes. It's warm, familiar, like a family I'd slid into without missing a step. I'm telling them about this club gig I just landed, decent pay, decent crowd, finally a little momentum. Olivia's talking about a project at work, how her team's been scrambling to fix bugs before an app update drops. It's easy chatter, the kind that makes you feel like life's on track. Except Olivia's quieter than usual. She's pushing peas around her plate like they've wronged her. I notice, but I chalk it up to her being tired. Happens. I keep laughing along with her dad's jokes, telling a story about me burning eggs in the pan, until her mom, mid-scoop of gravy, drops the line that shifts the whole night. So, she says, casual as air, have you two started trying yet? Marriage is great, but don't wait too long. Better to get going before it's late. The room doesn't even pause. Her sister chuckles, her dad smirks, plates keep passing. But I catch Olivia's face. The smile freezes. Her eyes dart like a rabbit spotting a hawk. She forces a laugh, waves it off with something about us being busy, then pivots hard to her mom's garden. Everyone follows her lead, and the conversation shifts to lawn gnomes, but I can't shake it. That one comment sticks like a bad chord ringing in my ear. On the drive home, Olivia is scrolling her phone, quiet, the glow lighting her face in the dark car. I keep my eyes on the road, but the question's burning. Finally, I ask, what did your mom mean by that? She doesn't look up. Says her mom's always nosy, always nagging. Shrugs it off, but her voice is pitched too high, and she won't meet my eyes. I press again. Not angry, not shouting, just steady. Seriously, what's going on? She repeats herself, blames her mom, insists it's nothing. But I've been around her long enough to know when she's lying. She gets this tightness in her voice, like she's rehearsing lines, and that's exactly what I hear. I don't let it go. I never do when something smells off. So I push, firm but calm, and after a stretch of silence, she cracks. We're back at our place, her on the couch picking at the fabric on the armrest, me leaning against the counter with a mug in my hand I'd forgotten to wash. She looks small, cornered, and then the words spill. She knew, before we got married. Fertility problems, tests, specialist visits, the whole damn thing. Not a suspicion, not a maybe. She knew. It hits me like a sucker punch. I don't care about the fertility part. Honest truth, if she'd told me from a jump, I'd have still married her. That isn't the betrayal. The betrayal is the lie, the way she stood there with me at the altar, smiling while keeping this secret locked up. I tell her that. My voice is shaking, but I say it anyway. It's not the issue. It's that you hid it. You didn't give me the choice to know. Her face crumples. She says she was scared I'd leave. That she thought if I knew, I'd run. And that's the twist of the knife. Because all I ever gave her was loyalty. I built my whole damn life around trusting her, believing we were a team. And she looked at me and thought I'd cut and run. I'm pacing the room now, walking past her code notebooks stacked next to my lyric scraps, past the dishes still in the sink, trying to make sense of it. Every memory replays different. The time she dodged baby talk, the skipped doctor visits, the anxious silences I brushed aside. All of it was a cover. It's betrayal, plain and simple. Not of dreams, not of kids, but of trust. She signed me up for a marriage I didn't fully understand, and now I'm wondering who the hell I even married. I stop pacing, stand there staring at her, and all I can think is this. She wasn't just hiding bad news. She was deciding for both of us what truth I could handle. That's not partnership. That's control dressed up as protection. And in that moment, with her eyes red and her hands twisting the couch fabric, I know something's broken that can't be glued back.
The apartment felt hollow the second Ryan left, like the air had been sucked out. He didn't slam the door, didn't shout, didn't throw anything. Just packed a bag, zipped it up slow, and walked out without looking back. That coldness was worse than anger. I'd almost preferred he yelled. At least yelling would have meant there was still heat, still something burning between us. I tried explaining before he left, tripping over my words, saying I didn't tell him because no guy would willingly sign up for a wife who might not deliver kids. I saw my cousin crumble when her husband bailed after failed IVF, how she ended up crying in her mom's guest room, and I swore I'd never let that happen to me. I told myself that keeping it from Ryan was survival, not betrayal. But he just sat there on the couch, staring at the floor, and when he finally spoke, his words cut like ice. I would have married you anyway. What I can't forgive is the lie. I panicked then, desperate to grab onto anything, blurting out that we should start trying for kids right now, tonight, before time slipped any further. It was a Hail Mary, a desperate gamble, like a coder frantically patching broken code minutes before launch. Maybe a baby would glue us back together, make him forget the cracks. But Ryan just shook his head and said, "A family can't be built on deception. Trust is gone." And then he was gone too. The days after blurred together. I scrolled through our old texts until my eyes hurt, the dumb memes we sent, pictures from that beach trip when he proposed. His face lit up with hope. Every time I opened my phone, my chest twisted tighter. I replayed the night he walked out, his voice echoing in my head, calm but final. My family tried to help, but it only made things worse. My mom called, her voice breaking, saying she never knew I'd hidden it from Ryan. She apologized for all the baby comments, like that would undo anything. My dad kept quiet, disappointed written all over his face. At work, it was whispers in the break room. Mutual friends had talked, and somehow the story leaked. Coworkers lowered their voices when I walked past, glancing at me like I was damaged. My focus shattered. I missed bugs, pushed sloppy code, earned side eyes from my manager. Friends split down the middle. Some ghosted me completely, not wanting to pick sides. Others sent awkward texts, thinking of you, or hope you're okay, like they didn't know what to say. And honestly, what could they say? That I'd gambled with my marriage and lost? That my fear had become the wrecking ball I swore I was dodging? Nights were the worst. I'd sit alone with takeout containers stacked on the counter, our half-empty closet staring back at me. I thought about every chance I had to tell him, the pizza nights on the floor surrounded by boxes, our walks through the park, the mornings we sat with coffee before work. I remembered tucking test results into my desk drawer, deleting reminders from my phone, lying about work things to cover specialist visits. Each memory felt like a nail in the coffin I'd built myself. I tried to convince myself at first that maybe he'd cool down, that he'd come back. But his family circled around him. His mom even called me once, her voice tight, saying she was disappointed. That word burned. Not angry, not furious, just disappointed. Like I'd failed a test I wasn't allowed to retake. I couldn't escape it. Social media was landmines, baby photos, anniversary posts, couples smiling over brunch. I clicked like, on autopilot, but every picture dragged me deeper. I lurked on forums late at night, reading stories from women like me, some with happy endings, others alone. I tried to imagine myself in both scenarios, but the second one always felt truer. Weeks passed, and the silence from Ryan stayed absolute. No texts, no calls, nothing. I realized then that he hadn't just left the apartment. He'd left me, entirely, like I never really knew him at all. But I did. I knew him better than anyone, and that's what made it so bitter. He was right, I robbed him of choice. Not about kids, but about trust. I sat in the apartment one night, staring at the empty space where his guitar used to lean, where my heart used to feel steady, and his words came back like they'd been branded in me. I would have married you anyway. What I can't forgive is the lie. That was it. The truth I'd been running from. He could have handled the infertility. He couldn't handle me. Or more specifically, the me who chose silence over trust, fear over honesty. And sitting there, with nothing left but echoes, I realized what a fool I'd been. Not just for losing him, for never trusting the one person who'd earned it.